Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you. Of course, we are pleased to be joined by Kaz Grala, who will be driving the number 48 Big Machine Racing Chevrolet for the Big Machine Racing team this weekend at Talladega, as well as next week at Dover. How's it going, Kaz?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, we've seen you in a lot of cars. You've been in the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and in the Truck Series. But you have another opportunity the next 2 weeks, and like this caught you by surprise.
Yeah, it did. It came out of nowhere. I was saying I didn't know anybody over at Big Machine Racing. I just knew of them, and it was a team that going into the year, I saw their announcement about partnering with RCR and working with them as an alliance team, and I thought that was great news for them, and thought, man, I'd love to drive for them someday. I didn't realize that someday would end up being this season, but yeah, I'm thrilled. We got a couple of great tracks coming up, Talladega and Dover, to be able to see what we can do and try to go for some wins, some good finishes, and move the team up the board.
Kaz, I've known you for a long time, and I know that a lot of these deals get, put together. This is probably, and you were telling me this is one of the quickest deals that got put together.
Yeah, it absolutely was, because the team already exists. The infrastructure is there. It's just you plug in a driver. And so I got the call last weekend, brought a seat up on Monday, and we announced on Tuesday. So that was definitely the quickest I've ever had something come together. But we had the off weekend. Obviously, I did race Bristol dirt in the truck, but no Xfinity last weekend. So gave the guys at the shop kind of an extra week to get the seat installed, get everything ready, get fitted in the car, and start planning for Talladega. So right now I feel like we have all our ducks in a row. We're ready to go. I've put all my stuff in the hauler. I've sat in the car. It fits like a glove. Everything is ready, and we're going to rock and roll this weekend at Talladega.
And Talladega is always, you've done well at a lot of these super speedway races. Of course, you were in a majority of them last year when you were with Colleague. Going into this year, what is it like to race in these types of races? And you also have won one before too.
Yeah, this one's going to be a lot different than what I've done in the past. So the last time I had teammates on a super speedway was 2017 with GMS. And I really only had one race. I had Daytona, which I ended up winning, because the next race, Talladega, I had to start in the back. We had, I think, an engine issue. Right? We had changed the engine before the race. We started last, came up through the field, and by the time I got up to, I think, 10th, I got turned from behind and we were out of the race. So that was a pretty short-lived race there. And since then, I've been solo. I drove an Xfinity car back in 2018 for our own team, Fury. We finished 5th, but we were a single car team. And since then, with Colleague last year in Cup, we were the only Colleague Cup car last year. So even this year in the 50 car for the Daytona 500, we were definitely on an island by ourselves. So it's going to be a little bit different this weekend, being able to work with the RCR guys on the racetrack and try to coordinate. We've seen Colleague be able to dominate Xfinity races by coordinating well. So it definitely takes some good choreography to try to beat those guys. And we're going to do best with that. We're going to all work together. Sheldon, Austin Hill, and we got Jeffrey Earnhardt actually as part of the RCR group this weekend as well. So the four of us will try to work together as best we can and race up front all day. In the last couple of years, every super speedway I've done, the team's plan has been to ride and go for it in the last couple laps, try to miss all the chaos. That's not what Scott Borchetta wants to do. We're here to race. We're here to race. We want to show well. We want to go for the win. We want to go for stage wins. We want to race up front all day. And it's been years since I've had a team tell me that that's our mission in a super speedway race. So it'll be a little bit different for me, but I think a lot of fun. I absolutely love that. As a driver, it's always a little awkward to hold back. that's not what we're used to doing. That's not what we grew up doing. So riding in a plate race is kind of out of our element. So to know that I can just go in there and try to qualify up front, try to race up front, stay there all day, it actually makes the mission simpler. I just do my job. I just race up front. I try to pass people. I try to get to the front. That's what we're there to do. And so it's a really simple goal. Less simple to execute properly, but that'll be down to myself and Keith, my spotter, and Patrick, the crew chief. We're just going to try to play our cards right all day long and be there at the end. And usually the guys that ride to miss the wrecks can get good finishes. But the winner is usually somebody that was racing up front for the lead all day. Right. So that's what we're going for.
Yep. And plus, you also, outside of the RCR cars, you also have the colleague cars, the Our Motorsports guys. You have Mike Snyder with Jordan Anderson, yourself, and you also have Brandon Brown as well with Brandonville Motorsports. Of course, all the RCR affiliated cars or Alliance cars. And plus, you have all your Chevy friends out there. Have you had a chance to talk with everybody with you guys about what the plan is, or is it are you kind of on your own?
No, we're not on our own at all. We've kind of had just some basic talks with RCR about all working together, but we do have a meeting on Saturday morning pre-race with all the drivers and the crew chiefs in the RCR camp. So it'll be all four of us getting together and talking about what our plan will be. And hopefully, you know how those races go. You can have the best plan in the world going into it, and then things always somehow get scrambled. You're not near each other. Someone falls to the back, someone's up front, someone's in the middle. It's not that easy to all get together and work together, but we're going to do our best. We're going to go in with a plan and hopefully stick to it, hopefully be able to help each other. Because at the end of the day, I think for the four of us to be up front and to have a chance to win this race at the end, we're going to have to work together. And if you ask me, I'd say, why don't we all try to be up front and work together and not care about what order we're in, just be up front. And in the last lap, race each other for the win. But until the last lap, help each other be up front to have a shot at the win. So that's what it seems like the colleague cars always do. And it's obviously been incredibly successful for them. So it's not going to be easy to beat those guys. That's kind of their bread and butter on the plate tracks. They're always the ones that you're looking at going into any race at Daytona and Talladega. But we'll give it our all.
There's a lot of bow ties out there, and I think they've won the last 4 or 5 restrictor. I mean, no, I almost said plate. Super speedway, I should say, because we don't technically use plates anymore. But going into this weekend, I know you got the next 2 weeks. I know you're also doing your assortment of races with Alpha Prime as well in the Xfinity series. Overall, how many races do you have left in Xfinity, you think?
Well, with Alpha Prime, I've got one more race on my schedule this year. It's going to be New Hampshire in July. So I did my 3 West Coast races with them, and I've got a 4th race with them. Of course, I am still their technical reserve driver for the season. So if they ever need me for anything, then I'll happily go race one of their cars. That's the position I'm in for this year with them. But as far as races in concrete, I've got 1 left with them.
Okay. And when are we going to see you next with the money team?
I can't say because I'm not sure exactly. But you will almost definitely see us at least a couple more times. And we'll nail those dates down at some point and figure out when you'll. But as of right now, it's up in the air.
Okay. But going into this race, I know that also here's another thing. This car, which when Jade ran at Daytona, was pretty fast. Jade put up a good qualifying lap and was up front for most of the day until he got caught up in something. And also saw Mike Snyder go upside down. But really, what are we going to see out of this team? Because this is a race where a lot of things can happen. Of course, you look at what happened last year with, of course, Jeff Burton winning, and that was a rain shortened race. And then Brandon Brown also won that race, but that was also shortened by darkness. But the unpredictability of that is Talladega. What are we going to expect on Saturday?
Well, it's so hard to predict these Xfinity races because the super speedway ones, that is, sometimes you end up with just massive, massive carnage and 8 or 10 cars left at the end and 5 of which are undamaged. Sometimes you get that, and sometimes you'll get ones that'll string out around the top, and anyone that tries to pass falls to the back of the line, and you end up finishing on a long green flag run with hardly any attrition. So you just never know. But I do know that our goal is to race up front all day. So really, wherever the race takes us, whether it's super aggressive or it's a little more relaxed single file, wherever the day goes, we're going to be along for the ride, and we're going to be doing what we can to stay up front. So I guess we'll just have to see. It's just so hard to predict what it could look like. But with it being a Dash for Cash race, early in the season, I don't see why it wouldn't be aggressive. I would think it would be aggressive. So I'm sure you're going to see a lot of action, a lot of pushing, shoving, and that always leads to some wrecks. So I think the most important thing is going to be to stay out of those wrecks. But I think there's a balance of racing up front, being aggressive, trying to take the lead, but doing so in a manner that is calculated, and always making sure you're trying to keep your car in as safe a position as you can. Some place where you can get out if there's trouble. You don't really want to be the third guy in line in the middle groove when you're 3 wide, coming to 2 to go in the stage end. That's probably not a really smart place to be, because you're too likely to get caught up in something. You've got your spots on the top or on the bottom where you feel like you can escape if you need to. So we'll try to keep ourselves in smart positions while being able to be aggressive and push. So that's going to be the balance we're going to try to find. It's not an easy one, and if anyone knew the secret to being able to do that perfectly every time, they'd win every super speedway race, and we don't see that. So you never know how it's going to go, but I do like the super speedway races. I think they're fun. They're exciting. They're different. They're definitely unique. So that always makes it exciting.
All right. Well, Kaz Grala, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Good luck this weekend at Talladega in the 48 car this week.
Yeah, thank you very much.